Hello and welcome back to Enterprise Architecture. Now, if you joined us last time, we're playing a different game than our usual building games. We are playing Grim Dawn. This is another action RPG game with the style of Diablo and Torchlight, some of those other games that people like, but I feel like not as many people know this game, but it's one of my all-time favorites, so I really wanted to show it off a little bit. Today we are playing through Act 1. And I have built a Witchhunter, which allows me to be a poison caster. And as you can see from this first little skirmish, it is extremely effective at crowd clearing, because I have an area of effect attack. Right now our goal is just to get a couple of more devotions points and head on to the lab of Warden Krieg. He's going to be the first Act 1 boss, or is the Act 1 boss, I should say. So we want to make our way to his castle. I don't know if we'll make it in this episode, because it's a very, very long way to get there. We're still at the very early stages of Act 1. But right now, we're just going to clear out this little section of town here, and see if we can't find one of the little mini-bosses that I know is lurking around here. Milton Park, right there. Who spews fire at us, but we will make short work of him all the same. There we go. Just like that. Okay. So we can pick up his note and his amulet and all this other wonderful stuff that is probably not actually super useful for us, but we will grab it anyway. Again, one of the things I love about this game is that there is no shortage of gear that they drop on you. There's absolutely plenty like that. We got a rare heavy helm just like that. Let's see here. None of the rest of this stuff looks especially useful because we're mainly looking for acid and poison as our primaries. Okay, now as you can see from the star on the map, there's one other little mini-boss here that we will take out. Oop, and he is electrified. Just like so. Oh, I saw a Tome of Corrosion. Is that better than the Tome of the Void that we have? Let's see. Oh, way, way, way more acid and poison damage. That's exactly what we want, so let's swap that. Always be pushing our acid and our poison damage on this build. Okay. Let's see here. Now, where to next? We're going to go up and around this part of the map. Taking out everything that we encounter as we go. Just working our way to the foggy bank. Oh, and note that there's some cultists here. I don't remember them being this early in the game, but the cultists represent one of the other factions, of course. Let's see here. Now, we also get to level up. Now, if you watched the previous episode, I've mainly been using Dreeg's Evil Eye as my primary attack, because it does do those exploding poisons. Curse of Frailty is awfully nice. It weakens our enemies, and we use vulnerability to make it so that we do more damage. Now, a lot of builds are based on Bloody Pox, because it adds bleeding vitality damage to the enemy and reduces their overall health. That can be extremely useful. There are other builds that also are summoners that use the Summon Familiar and this Hellhound build, but we're not going to be getting into this lower part here. We're going to be focusing on the core, which is Dreeg's Evil Eye. We do need to get a little bit more damage up on that, so we're going to bump that just a bit. We've already maxed out Bloody Burst, but we're also going to put another point here into our tree so that we can start getting towards Terrifying Gaze. I'll probably also bring Bloody Pox online here in a little bit. Okay, so for right now, let's keep working our way up through the Foggy Bank. Now, we do want to get to the Foggy Bank Rift, which is the orange spot on the map up here, and get that unlocked so that we can fast travel. And then we're going to go pick up another devotion point real quick. Okay, so we've unlocked the rift, and if I remember that eye right there, I think that is the entrance to the cavern where we get the devotion point, if I remember correctly. Now, there's 3 levels of difficulty in this game as you progress through it, much like with Diablo, where you go through first the easy, or I guess in this one, normal, and then hard, and then super hard. Now, did I pick the right cavern? Yeah, you can already see the devotion sign right here on the map, so that means I came to the right place. Now, the devotion shrines are in different places at each difficulty. I think I remember the normal ones pretty well, but sometimes I forget in the other difficulties, which does and does not work. Now, this one we have to clear out the shrine to unlock it, which means killing off a couple of monsters. They're not especially hard at this level. Okay, just like that. Ooh, we picked up the Tome of Blight. That is even more acid and poison damage, but we need more spirit. So let's go ahead and drop a couple of points into spirit until that unlocks, and then we're going to replace it. We're also going to get Poison Nova as our secondary skill. Now, Poison Nova releases a massive cloud of poison when you get hit. About 10% of the times that you get hit, or 10% of the time when you hit, excuse me. So that's going to be super useful for us. I'm tempted to upgrade my other stuff, but I don't have anything that's really going to help us. Cold and vitality damage, sure, I'll take it, I guess. It's not what I'm looking for, but this one gives us increased energy generation, though, which might be even better. Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, back to the game. So that's all we needed in this cavern, is just that single devotion point. We're not really interested in any of the other sites that this has to see for us. One thing we should do, of course, is actually use the devotion point, which we haven't done yet. Just make sure... Oh, and there you saw the Poison Nova go off. So, under Devotion, we added 1.2 red previously in the Crossroads. We're going to use that because we want to unlock the Rat. Any of these bright stars are where you can start a new constellation. Another option here would also be to go with Ghoul, because we want Ghoulish Hunger, which is the red shiny stars are special powers. But for right now, Rat gives us red and green points of Devotion, and that's going to be useful later. So we're going to put 1 point there. And we actually have another point already, so we're going to put that here in the second, which gives us additional poison damage. 24% additional, 100 flat, and 20 acid retaliation. That's great for a poison caster. So we're going to take all that, stop here to steal whatever we got. Ooh, Plague Bearer's Slith Tongue. Now that's wonderful. We are really lucky to have gotten that so early. This gives us Poison Bolt and Poison Nova, another source of Poison Nova, and additional poison damage as well. This is the perfect weapon for our poison caster to have at this point in the game. This is going to help a lot. So yeah, additional acid damage, additional poison damage. So yeah, our primary skill is acid damage, which is the immediate attack, but we also want to use the poison damage over time to slowly eat away at our enemies' lives. Okay, so we're going to clear out all of these enemies that are here waiting for us. There we go. Grab this slith necklace. I keep saying sylph necklace. Slith necklace, and then continue on our way through the Foggy Bank. Now, there's another side quest over here I could stop for, but I'm not going to. We're just going to keep running on back up the map. So I am going to skip through most of the flavor text in this game, and I'm going to skip a lot of these trips that I'm going to make back to the town to sell all my items and gear and stuff, just to make this a little bit easier to watch for y'all. But I do want to show off, like, we killed Milton Hart, that enemy. And now look, we found Sybil Hart, and we found an amulet bearing her name when we went through and killed that monster. And here's Hart's amulet. To my dear brother, may this amulet keep you strong in battle, Sybil. So we're going to give that back to her, and we get experience points for that. But I just want to show you that that's indicative of how all of this game is kind of woven together. Most of the like corrupted enemies you're fighting, they're actually people originally that have been either made a choice or, in Milton Hart's case, did not make the choice and got corrupted by the evil energies. So that's just indicative of the world of Grim Dawn. It is a grim world, but still a lot of fun to play. So yeah. So we're just continuing to make our way up the coast here, or excuse me, down the road here along the Foggy Bank. I guess we're in the middle of the swamp. There's not a lot else in Foggy Bank for us that we want to stop for. Taking out any extra enemies on the way just to gain a few extra points, and then we are crossing the bridge over. Now here, this is one of the neat things I love about the game. There's a bridge that you can actually repair. So if you have the iron bits, which is the currency in the game, and some scrap, you can repair the bridge to Burrwitch, and this will give you a shortcut to the next area of the game. However, we don't want to take the shortcut in this mode because of two main reasons. One, there is a flooded passage here that is the long way to go, which actually has a devotion shrine in it as well that we want to unlock. And there's also a boss that may or may not drop a weapon that'll be useful for us. So there we go. With our upgrades, we made short work of that little boss that was there. And that actually is a decent sash that they dropped if we were doing a traditional Nightblade Witchhunter build that was focused more on cold damage. Let's see here. We have a Slith Altar. That's got a couple items on it. And again, I love that the backgrounds are destructible and they're interactive. It's really nice. Now, this is our first Savage Totem that we've encountered. There's 3 different types of totems, and they summon different monsters. And when you defeat all of the monsters, you get stuff. Again, it's just a loot mechanic that's really nice. So we're going to take these out, and you can see it's got these Briar Thorn enemies that ordinarily we wouldn't be seeing until much, much later in the game. So we're going to have to, yeah, very, very nice. Was a little touch and go there for a second. Couldn't get to my healing button fast enough. I really need to remap those buttons. But took them out without too much trouble and got a couple of blue items for my trouble. These unique items. Okay, so blue items frequently can be part of a set as well, but I don't think we got any set items just now. But let's clear out all the enemies nearby before we go and look at what we picked up. Okay, so we got a Bolt Splitter, which is a crossbow that we can use, but that's not really useful for our build here. We also got the Blood Seal Ring. This adds bleeding damage and boosts Bloody Pox, which we are thinking about using. So let's go ahead and, oh, what do I need for that? I am not at the right level yet, so we'll just drop it over here. Note that we got, from one of these quests, a second inventory. So you'll end up getting like 5 bags of holding, basically, over here, instead of just your base inventory. And that makes it really, really nice for expansion as you go. Because you're getting so much loot, it gives you a place to stick all of that loot. So that's awfully helpful, and it's really nice of the authors of this game to have added that. It's much, much appreciated. Let's see here. Now, to pick up any of these higher level armors, we're going to need more physique. So I'm just going to try and avoid damage for right now, rather than putting any of that on. I will, let's see, I'm not going to take the spirit hit for the Sister's Amulet that we got though. So we're just going to continue making our way through this level until we get to the Devotion Shrine. Okay, so here we are at the next Devotion Shrine. So we're just going to clear this out real quick. Again, it's a combat one, so we hit start, and there we have it. We can clear these out pretty fast. Although we're taking a little damage, just like that. Again, if I weren't having such a fantastic character to build, this would be a little bit more problematic. We did get a new offhand. Nope, that doesn't give us anything that we really want. New weapon doesn't really give us anything we want. It's, well, better armor for our legs. We'll take that. Yeah, that's about it. But we did get our additional devotion point. Now, one thing that's really great about this game is the pacing. The first act gives you basically 6 or 7 devotion points. And that's exactly the number you need to unlock your first skills that you're going to be using if you're playing a standard build. So if I had kept it in green where I started, I could unlock Twin Fangs on Bat right by the end of this act before I go and fight the big boss, which is a nice little addition. Again, it's kind of like perfectly timed for new players. But we're only doing Rat, so that timing doesn't really matter for us so much. But we did just pick up a little bit more Acid Retaliation, which is nice, and additional Cunning and Spirit, which will be helpful. And then at the end of this, we're going to get a big poison damage bonus here too. So let's go take out the boss of this level, which is a Shambler right here. So we curse him with Curse of Frailty, and then just basically spam our Dreeg's Evil Eye on him. And just like that, we make very, very short work. And we got the Heart of Alacrity, which is a bonus to Force Wave if you're running an Oathkeeper Sword and Board character, which we are not. Okay, so we've finished the Flooded Passage, and this brings us back to the Burrwitch Outskirts. Now, a couple of interesting things in Burrwitch Outskirts for us. First, of course, we're going to want to make sure we've connected the rift. We get this extra random reconnaissance report here that's on the floor. That's just a little bit of lore points. And here we're going to get a quest that we do want to take from Duncan.
Oh, hello, traveler.
Now, Duncan's mentioning that somebody stole something from him, quote unquote. So you have an option here. You can either go find Angrim and kill him, or you can steal the hammer back, and then Duncan becomes the blacksmith for the village, or you can recruit Angrim and he becomes the blacksmith instead. I generally do not want to kill Angrim, so I leave him be. I did want to give you all a little bit more taste of the environs around Burrwitch, which is the first big city that we're going to encounter here. This is kind of a forest area, but there's a couple of like really nice, well, I guess it's more of a town. We get into some bigger cities later in the game that have been corrupted. But this will give you a flavor sort of the look and feel of some of these areas around it. They've got these really nicely rendered forests. And as I was saying earlier, it really just feels a lot like, you know, very Dungeons and Dragons-y. Not so much high fantasy, it's more, you know, Western fantasy. In that, like, it's kind of a little bit Wild Westy, and I kind of like that about it. But you've got these nice little bridges and these cliffs and the water, and just looks really, really good.
Now, stranger.
Now here's Angrim, and we get a little bit of flavor text about what he's doing, and you tell him either you need to kill him to take it back, this hammer, or not. And we're just going to say we need it to help, and we offer to let him join us instead. And there you go, he teleports away. Now, if you went back and talked to the other character who just asked you to kill him, they will then attack you, as I remember. So yeah, not exactly super social. And that's indicative of what happens in a lot of the choices in this game. They are somewhat meaningful. If you choose to side with particular groups, then that means that other people will eventually not like you so much. There's a couple of points in the game where you actually have to make a decision as to which team you're going to join. Now, a lot of those decisions tend to be based on what type of weapons and armor you want from them, rather than what ideological group you agree with, which is a bit of a lost opportunity, I think. Unlike, say, the Geneforge games, where the decisions you make actually have an impact on the ending of the game pretty significantly. Geneforge series, by the way, by Spiderweb Studios, Still one of my absolute all-time favorite games. Just amazing. Maybe I'll play through some of those here at a distant point in the future. It's a turn-based RPG, which, you know, isn't for everybody. But I do think is super, super fantastic. No, wait, that is exactly where I wanted to be. Hold on. So, yeah, there's a Shrine of Devotion here. We're going to pick up another devotion point from. Over here, just knocking out a couple of these. I do try to kill these aether crystals when I do encounter them, the crystal structures, because aether crystals are used for a bunch of stuff. They always drop one, and they're used as sort of a secondary currency. You notice we have another reanimator like the one that we fought in the previous episode as a boss. Now it's just a standard enemy. There we go. Picking up some crystal. Taking out some baddies. And another devotion point. I also picked up another level here while I was doing combat a second ago. So let's clear us out, and we're going to go ahead and, let's see here. I think we're going to go ahead and put another one of our points in Bloody Pox, like I mentioned. I do think it's a useful skill to have up and running, and we're going to bind that here to number 2. But we're also going to go dump a few more points into Dreeg's Evil Eye, because we're going to use that, and then the rest we're going to start leveling up. Again, adding to your base track improves all of your stats, your spirit, etc. So we do want that. Now, pretty soon we are going to want to get us into the Nightblade, but I'm not worried about that at the moment. Let's also go ahead and drop another point of devotion, and again, this completes Rat. Now, you notice when I did that, 2 things happen. One, I get this 210 points of poison damage over 5 seconds, and an additional 50% poison damage overall, with 30% increased duration and 40% retaliation. But it also completed the constellation, so I get points in red and green. You can see that on the left-hand side of the screen, the affinities here. Now, because I unlock those affinities, that means more of these constellations are now available to us. Now, there's a couple of things that we want to get as we're moving through here. We're really aiming for Manticore as one of our first ones, and we do want to get Murmur here shortly thereafter, but Manticore requires 4 red and 6 green. We're nowhere near that yet. Scorpion Sting might be a nice way of getting that here for additional poison damage. To get us up there, I might go for Ghoul next, and Spider as well. That's just going to give us better casting and faster speed. The Guardian here is also noteworthy because of Guardian Gaze, which is a major poison attack, which will give you additional attack damage converted to health as well, which is super nice. So, that is it for this cavern. So we're going to head on into Burrwitch from here. Now, we did just get pretty lucky. I randomly got a second Blood Seal dropped from just a random enemy. That's kind of unusual. I don't have that happen very often. But since we are not playing Bloody Pox as our main attack right now, it's not super useful. Now, I did want to show you, though, that we're going to encounter one of the more interesting characters in the game, Ulgrim. We're going to recruit him, much as we did the blacksmith, to join our little crew down there at Devil's Crossing. And he's going to be a cook. So when we get back to the base eventually, we'll see that not only have we gotten a blacksmith, we have now added a cook as well. Now, as we're going through here, I did want to show one other system that exists in the game. So you have all of these random components that you're seeing here all along the side. And unlike Diablo's system of gem slotting or Path of Exile's gem slotting, each weapon or item can have one of these additional components slotted into it. Only one. That makes it a lot easier to kind of wrangle what goes where and to do all the math. And you don't need a slot for it, you just are adding the component to the item. So again, you're not looking for gear with slots like those other games. I think there's a massive improvement. Now, I want to use this mutagenic ichor on at least one of my things. Now, you can see you can use it on weapon, shield, and caster offhands. So I'm just going to go ahead and use it on my offhand, because I expect that that'll probably be around for a while with us. So we're going to drop it there. And what that does, as you can see, is it adds additional acid and poison damage. Again, we're using an acid poison build. Our physical damage is converted to acid damage, 10% of it. And moreover, it gives us an additional skill called Poison Bomb. It takes 32 energy, but it does 472 poison damage and 34 acid damage. So we're going to go ahead and map Poison Bomb to slot 3 and use that as part of our arsenal here moving ahead. Okay, so we finally made it to Burrwitch Village, which is one of the our destinations here. We're going to clear out all the enemies around the rift real quick, and that'll give us access to this waypoint. And yeah, there's 3 rounds of enemies here to defeat. There we go, and we leveled up as well. Again, I'm really progressing really quickly through the game here and gaining levels really fast. So we're just going to drop a few more points in our main tree, 1 more into Evil Eye, and we should be getting our first point of Terrifying Gaze here at our next level, which will be great. Now, since we're in the town of Burrwitch, you'll note a couple of things. One, it's gotten dark, which is kind of a nice atmospheric change here. Kind of like in Diablo, and I guess Path of Exile does this too, where the whole world goes dark. You actually encounter nighttime in some of these spots. So here it's actually become nighttime. And that's just part of the atmospheric change that can happen as part of the game engine. It changes all the lighting effects and everything. It's a really nice thing. But as I recall, it's not permanently painted dark here. It just happens to be nighttime. Okay, let's talk for a second here about our various new villagers. Ulgrim, as I mentioned, is the cook, and you can listen to his stories, and you can also get soup. Soup will refill your vitality here, not just your life. See, tops up, which is really useful if you just need to get a quick top up. And then Angrim, no relation, is also the blacksmith. And as you slowly unlock things in the game, he'll be able to make more and more powerful relics. So for instance, Ruination, Calamity, and Equilibrium are 3 that we have by default. We'll have to find the recipes for all of the other relics in the game. These are very, very basic low-level relics. He also can make weapons, special weapons, armor, all sorts of stuff. But really, these relics are the key. They go into this slot here, which you can see is grayed out right now because we don't have any relics yet. But these are a fantastic a way to get additional stats and skills. But we need to find some of the more acid-based ones. I'll also mention that this game does have, because you have so much inventory, a stash for you, which is really great, which we're going to take advantage of immediately, and drop some stuff in it. But moreover, you have a shared stash by default, too. A lot of games in the old days, like Diablo 2, you had to jump through a lot of hoops to have a shared stash. This one has it built right in, so you can just share with all of your characters that you've got right here without needing an online account. It's really nice. Okay, so this is one of the things that I want to mention about the flavor of the game. Some of the characters you encounter, depending on how the random number generation works, you can't save. And that's kind of sad and depressing. You can skip over this entirely and not have this interaction. I can actually just leave right now and not deal with it. But there's a hard chance here that if I say something else, that this person will not want to come with me. See? Yeah. So sometimes they'll even attack you, which is even worse. But yeah, not everyone is super comfortable. And a lot of people have, you know, tried to barricade and get away. They're trying to hide their families so that they don't have to be there. It's a whole thing. And again, it's pretty some dark aspects of the game. And now you can see at long last I've made it to Burrwitch Estates. And I did actually just reach the despised status with ethereals, which means I've killed enough of them that they know that I am trouble. So that's one faction I have definitely offended. Just cleared out this shrine as well, and picked up another devotion point, which we can choose where we're going to put that next. Let's see here. So there are these factions. I mentioned there's the ethereals, the Chthonians, beasts, of course, are the animals and monsters that we encounter, and Devil's Crossing actually tolerates us. They're the ones that have been hosting us there in that village. So you gain positive reputation as well as negative reputation. But yeah, the ethereals I've now crossed over to despised, and that means now there's going to be more of them to fight as time goes on. So, the other thing we want to do is put our devotion points somewhere. The real question is where exactly we're going to want to put it. There's a couple of options here, but again, as I mentioned before, Manticore is still our immediate goal. So I do think that to get there, we're still short. So we could pick up 3 from the Ghoul, and Ghoulish Hunger is going to help our survivability. And then I think Spider or Raven gets us the rest of the way. And that's not poison. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and do Ghoul and just try and work on our survivability a little bit. So we're going to put 1 point in here to get additional physique and some defensive ability. So we'll take that. Now, we're also going to do one little side quest here while we are at it, and that is to go rescue the Inventor's Apprentice. So down here in this little dungeon-looking basement, you'll see here there is all of this. And note, again, the flavor. You remember I said that bag of salt that I had as a necklace? You'll see here at the doorways, there's also clearly been salt that's been laid down. Now, it's not stopping any of the enemies from crossing it, but again, it's just that extra flavor that they know that salt is, of course, something that is supposed to block. And then you can see there's a circle of salt here around the person that we're trying to save, Darlet. So we send Darlet back and rescue them. Now, back outside, we are coming up on the Warden's Mansion. And you can see it says Warden Krieg on the sign right out front. Of course, Warden Krieg is the Act 1 boss that we are hunting for. So, getting to him is a little bit of a challenge, because underneath this house, I mean, obviously, you're not going to just walk up to the house and have him come out and say hello and fight you. No, no, no. We're going to have to go through a series of catacombs to be able to get him. And to get even to that, we're going to have to deal with all of these enemies who are basically running around and using our trick, basically hiding our attacks. Throwing ranged weapons, etc. Yeah. So, see if we can't take out a bunch of these. Again, that area of effect from Dreeg's Eagle Eye is doing us real well. And pick up some more lore while we're at it. Get the points off that, and the Harbor Master log I picked up earlier. And I think I recall there's more over here. Maybe not. I thought there was another lore somewhere in this area. So, we go through his house and the Warden isn't home. But from our map there, we can see that there is indeed a basement. So, come around to the wooden door around the backside, and we sneak into his basement. And here we have the Warden's Cellar. Now, the Warden's Cellar is huge, but we've opened up the Rift Gate, which will allow us to get back to Devil's Crossing, And I think that's a good place to stop this episode. We've seen a lot more of the world of Grim Dawn, and I'll probably do at least one more episode here to show you playing through to beat the Warden and show you what a boss looks like in this game. But for now, I think we're going to end here. So thank you again for watching Enterprise Architecture, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends!